This is a video that was made to demonstrate some of the highlighted features of CyberRat and to give you a sense of how realistic the simulation really is. We're not going to narrate each and every step as we walk our way through the setting up of CyberRat, but it will give you a general idea of the kinds of selections of animals from a colony room. There are journals available there if you want to see the history of the animal. You go to a parameter screen where you establish the experimental conditions for your experiment. You establish a session's duration, for example. We'll just do a 2-minute one here to demonstrate how real CyberRat looks to you as you start your experiment. We're going to let this play for 1.5 minutes with just the animal exploring the box. There's a reinforcement button just below the operant chamber that you can use to reinforce any behavior you want to. We'll wait, and at about 1.5 minutes we'll begin to reinforce the animal for approaching and or staying at the water dipper, and this will give you some sense of the controllability of the video playback that you see by the use of the reinforcement button. That same reinforcement can be used to train bar press behaviors, of course, and subsequently we'll show you an example of an animal that has already been trained to discriminate different lighting conditions and under a very lean schedule of reinforcement, just to give you a sense of how those experimental parameters are graphed and how you can review an experimental session. So at this point we're waiting for the animal to explore the cage. You'll note that you're observing a real animal engaged in the varieties of real behaviors that occur during a session. In the outer viewing of the chamber, you'll notice there's a runtime clock about 2/3 of the way down the side of the chamber. We see it at 1 minute 33 seconds. We're now beginning to reinforce the behavior of approaching the water magazine, drinking at the water magazine. We continue to reinforce there as a technique for magazine training so that the animal would respond to the delivery sound of water. We're going to terminate the session here very quickly in 2 minutes just to show you how graphing works. We're going to save the video. We're not going to make any notes about the video. We're going to use the graphic icon to go to graphing. The default graph is for bar pressing. Since there were no bar presses in this session, we'll have to select a target act that was present in the session, such as going to the dipper. We can click on the x-axis at any place along the timeline and can get a playback of that session. You'll note here that the animal is playing back from 1 minute 50 seconds and continuing. While we're on the Graph and Analyze screen, let's use the data source archive to go back and pull one of our animals' experimental history up through the journal. And we'll go back to, let's say session number 57, where the animal was under a variable interval schedule with a mean interval of 73 seconds. This interval was in effect during a specific lighting condition and not in effect or extinction during an S-negative lighting condition. Each of those lighting conditions alternated every 120 seconds. We did the session in a 1-hour fast run, and so let's select it. Take a quick look at the schedule results, and we'll see that there was an S-positive, S-negative ratio of 14.81 with a discrimination index of about 94%. If we want to, we can play back that session at any point. Let's play back, let's say, from here at about 9 minutes into the session. You'll see the animal bar pressing with a fairly stereotypical least effort kind of a posture here. There, the animal responded in time to get reinforcement. We're about to reach the lighting condition change, which you won't see in this particular playback, but you'll see the animal respond to by breaking away from the bar press pattern. If we want to see this session played back in a slightly different way, we can go back to the replay session. Again, select records for this animal, and if we were to return to that same session and set it up for replay, we could actually see the session from the beginning and replay the entire session if we wanted to in a large screen format. We could drag our player head through the session. You may recall that we were looking at bar pressing at about just approximately 9 minutes. So let's play it from there for a moment. You'll notice that there is no framing around the viewing of the operant chamber until the light conditions change. And here we'll see the red light come on, and that's the S negative signal. And under these conditions, the animal may in fact press, but not consistently, and will break and begin to go back to normal exploratory patterns. And that's CyberRat. It's a realistic replay of sessions, a realistic experiment, and fully under your control as an experimenter with whatever variables or even manual reinforcement that you want to use. Thank you for watching.